Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal Podcast, Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. I am Vashi V, and joining me today is.
Right. Oh, sorry we missed last week. That was on me. But we are back now with a double feature.
I have a question for you, real quick.
What?
How does it feel to be in my role?
I've had to cancel before, and this is nothing new.
I mean, it wouldn't be our podcast if this ever took place on time on the correct day.
I mean, you might think we're actively trying to get as few listeners as possible, but we're really not. We're just that bad at this.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I'm the guy who's got everything set up to streaming and has done it, what, 3 times? After telling hell, I haven't touched Resident Evil's Village since that first time I played it. I'm apparently very lazy.
So, episode 21. Uh, Everyone's kind of getting all. Sorry, the villains specifically are who I'm talking about here. They're all kind of getting pissed off at the heroes.
About damn time.
Uh, and now Flint has given Zenkaiser and Tsukaiser power ups and
Yo ho hoi, yo ho hoi, yo ho hoi hoi.
Great, now we're gonna get copyrighted.
Dude, if that's what gets us copyrighted, that'll be sad.
What was I saying? Oh, right. So this time the mission is more of an observational one with a copy world who copies people, but with a more sinister and chaotic personality. This way, they can get more of a gauge on just what the Zenkaigers are capable of.
Which is actually a pretty good plan. And in the words of Pixie, how do you show somebody's evil? Just put red eyes on the suit.
I mean, it worked in Cure Major, as you have made vocal.
Kira Major, it's done it in a lot. Kira Major just initially, I understand like my argument on Kira Major. Retroactively, that was a stupid argument.
So, with all these civilians being tormented by their copies, Zenkai just split up to go and try and help everyone, leaving Kaito and Zox to deal with the monster. So, it's the two of them that get copied. Their copies beat them up a bit and then run off to cause havoc around town.
Like you do.
Now, did you also wonder for a moment if the real Zox or the copy Zox was the one who ran off?
I will admit for a little bit, yeah, I have expected him to just switch places.
Because, at first it seemed like they had, the copies had the opposite personality of the original. So if that were true, it's like, oh, maybe that, Zox is the one causing chaos and his copy is the one that's gonna stop him. But no, the copies are all just cartoonishly evil.
Which the sad thing is, the point that gets made at the end, that Zox is pretty much just Zox. It's just you didn't have to make a promise. I think
Sorry.
the best part of the joke for this is the fact that they committed all of that crime in like 2 minutes.
Right, like they're going around robbing jewelry stores, stealing food from restaurants, like all this stuff. The real Kaito gets arrested.
Like you do. Awfully fucking quick.
But in the interrogation room, the detective reveals that, like, yeah, I know you're the real Kaito, but I need you to stay here so that we can prove it.
Good plan.
If only Zox got the memo.
Or if this was, Ninja, Drive, all the various ones where people keep getting arrested and go, yeah, no, I'm just going to sit here and wait. Lucky. Fucking Lucky. Even Lucky fucking sat around and went, yeah, okay.
Most of the Tokyugers got arrested.
Yeah. If only they knew.
So yeah, Zox, like, breaks Kaito out because he doesn't want his copy going around giving him a bad name, and he feels like Kaito might feel the same way.
Which he does, but,
He was going to respect the law, but that quickly became not an option.
Yeah, there was no other option. But did Zox have to blow up like half the building? Or at least a side of the building?
What was he supposed to do?
I mean, he got in there without blowing it up. How come he couldn't get out of there without blowing it up?
Because he had Kaito with him. He needed to make an exit.
Oh, wait, that's right. They always need to make it showy.
Before we get into the big confrontation, did anything of note happen this episode?
Not to my knowledge.
Outside of Yatsude being in kind of like pain of like, yeah, I know it's a copy committing the crimes, but seeing Kaito's face committing them breaks her heart.
I think the only thing of real importance and note in this episode is literally the mech fight.
Oh, also the copies do worse poses than the original when they do the roll call.
And not just that, they interrupt them to do them.
Like Jiren goes for his, and Cop goes like, no, my turn as well. Kaito's go first.
And him jumping in too at the end in the.
I love Jiren's comment too, like, let's try this again.
Yeah, it's the dumb jokes that they've done throughout this show with the henshins that to me it's just delightful. My all-time favorite one is the "Are you sure we can do this?"
When he's invisible.
When he's invisible.
Or that time, Majin had a different roll call when she was pissed and was like, cursed or something.
And then the whole heartbreak henshin.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Or Vroom. His was the only one that was truly legitimate.
Or like last time when we got Durandal and what's her face as guests.
Oh yeah. Sabella.
Sabella, yeah. And like I did pay close attention to when they're fighting each other. And for having two different suit actors do this, like they both nail down the same like fighting style that the characters employ.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did enjoy the what the hell's his name?
Copy World.
Copy World doing his little thing in the background. Yeah.
And then
oh, I did want to point one thing out that I did enjoy a little bit back at the beginning of this. When Zoc shows up and transforms initially, Toes in the background.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, he totally was dancing along. That was great. And so Copy World is defeated when Majin uses her magic to make him run out of toner. So he can't copy them because he doesn't have any spare. And then they use the Bioman key to short circuit him and leave him vulnerable to attack. Did I say key? I meant gear.
I mean, whatever. Same fundamental aspect. Like, as much as it's a dumb gag, and it has always been a dumb gag, I like these little jokes of, oh, well, this, like the maple syrup gag with the beetle is just, there's always some gag how like either they lure out the monster or they defeat the monster. Always some gag about what type of thing they are.
It adds like a little element to the show of like, hey, the monsters aren't just generic monsters. Like, no, whatever their theme is, that matters for something, even if it's just a silly joke.
Like, for a show that 100% comes off as a parody, in terms of like the ultimate layout of the show,
it's incredibly well written.
Oh yes, like everything in this show has been well thought out, even if things bother me.
Like the dancing.
Oh no, we're gonna get to that in a second. we're gonna get that in the next episode. Yeah, that's key to my irritation is next episode.
Yeah, they use their Zenkaiger gears, and like Zox does his overly dramatic dance, and Kaido's like doing a little thing next to him. But yeah, then we get to the mech fight. I love the joke they made here. Like, I may not look distinct, but I'm not a copy. And it's unique footage, question mark?
Right. Yeah. And now we get to the question that I have for this.
Yeah, it was unique footage, because it was a different angle. It was more in front instead of from below. So it was actually unique footage of him coming in, instead of just being the stock footage that they've been doing. He's not a copy. That's a good one.
But now we get to my ultimate question.
How?
Yes, how? How the fuck does this work?
So,
like, throughout all of these shows, as much as, like, Cure Majors didn't make sense. Cure May Silver, don't make sense. Don't care. Whatever.
Magic.
But gets a pass because of magic. And then you get Kamen Rider Axel, who turns into a motorcycle while standing right next to his motorcycle. And then you get Kiria, who turns into a motorcycle. And then later has a motorcycle of himself that he rides. I mean...
Let's make one thing clear. The Gashats and Exade were also magic.
Right, because it was literally, it put them in a game environment. So, fine. Ultimate pass for Exade. Double was just stupid. XL was stupid. Because why in the fuck are you turning into a motorcycle 2 feet from your motorcycle?
Maybe he has better mileage.
I mean, to be fair, there's nobody riding them, so
It takes the simplest comments to make you facepalm. Like, I don't even have to try. The less I try, the easier it is.
I mean, to be fair, it works for you too. Not quite as often, but it does work. But like, literally, this one is pure, unadulterated bullshit on how this works.
So, Kaito is able to grow big, like the Kikai Noids can. And then Zox turns into a chibi kaiju, kind of like his brothers. But then he grows big so that they combine together into a kaiju. Now,
More specifically, into the Time Force mech that happens to have Dragon Zord
elements.
accents. Yeah.
Holy shit, that is the Time Force mech.
It's the Time Force mech.
I didn't realize.
I mean, I knew it from the get-go.
I forgot
Like,
about that mech.
Do you want to know what truly triggered me into remembering that that's what that mech looked like? Zox's finisher. The refreezer. The time missile refreezer.
I get it now. I was like, huh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Time Force.
Oh, right. So when we started this show, I made a comment about how, like, it felt like the gears were kind of a little too, tuned for the Kikanoids for them to, like, grow big and transform and such. But now we have this shit, so what do I know?
Yeah, what the fuck? And literally only one of them in Zox's only works the way it does initially because it was an error. Because Flint fucked up.
I think the part where he initially shrank was an error.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have just grown the way Kaito did. But the initial
Right.
shrinking down to, like, chibi size was the error.
But,
Otherwise,
like, all in all, it's like...
he was supposed to just turn into that form and enlarge.
Right. The biggest question I have with this entire setup is, okay, Kikanoids make sense with how they work. Because they can get large and stay themselves, as we've seen. Or they get large and turn into their mech forms. We know this because they've been knocked out of their mech forms and stayed large. Kaito being made large. Fine, makes sense.
Kaito...
Him becoming a goddamn mech doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Kaito turning into a transformer is where you lost me.
Yeah, I was okay with everything up until then. And based on previews, it just gets worse.
So the explanation I'm going to go with here is that when he turns big, his body is not turning big, his armor is.
So he's inside of it?
Yeah, but like spiritually.
You want to know all I'm picturing now?
Go on.
Him inside of it physically, but the armor got big and he's just standing in the pinky toe. I mean, ultimately, it would make sense with the whole overlay they do for whenever Zox and Kaito talk to each other. Like, they do the what would be the cockpit overlay.
Right.
But it's just like them talking to each other mech-wise.
Like, the more you try to think about this, the less sense it's gonna make, so let's just not.
Yeah. It's magic.
They saved the day, and they all get a laugh at how Zox is an asshole.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, Evil Zox was a very pretty man.
You like the evil makeup?
Yeah, it looked to me. It looked more proper of that what Zox more or less initially stood for. That I'm doing this for like gold and riches and because I want to. So fuck it, I'm gonna be flamboyant.
I will say that this was an interesting way to introduce a new mech.
I don't think we've had this type of introduction on a mech.
No,
Not even close.
and like you said, like, it's not even over yet, because when I saw it, my first thought was, like, huh, that kind of looks like what the other Kikanoids turn into at first, before they combine together.
Yeah, and then then you saw the preview for episode 23.
Yeah, the preview for episode 23, and it's like, oh, that's why.
It's gonna be so much weirder now.
What's the game plan going forward?
The longer this goes, the more confused I am by how the altogether mech is gonna work.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, are we just like slowly building up to the all-together mech where we don't have to worry about this anymore?
I fucking hope so. I want that or them to do the other tradition where halfway through they just get all new mechs.
But they are the mechs.
I know. Let them pilot mechs too. Because what the fuck else is this show gonna do? This show can literally do whatever the hell it wants and it gets a free pass. I mean, it made this and it's okay. But that's one storyline that I have missed from Sentai is the we need new mechs.
Alright, episode 22. Bullfighting world. He's going around turning people into his bulls, and they will attack whatever color he commands.
I give them credit on that one a little bit because it's following the fact that they're attracted to the color red as being busted.
Right, they're not. For anyone who doesn't know, bulls don't actually hate the color red. They hate the way the matador's cape moves. They literally hate the way it sways.
Yeah, it's a movement thing.
And then we get something that I've missed in the intro, in the beginning, when they Zenkaigers first fight the monster. Bong bong. Bong
oh
bong.
Yeah, the actual
bong bong.
The actual full transformation. It has been a while since we got that.
And like the spin with it, like this is one thing I like from Sentai, when they do something simple but make it effective.
Even if it's dumb.
Like, what does the spinning do for them? Nothing. But it's a nice little motion to
flourish.
Add to the rhythm.
It's a nice little flourishing. Like, the only thing that crops into my head with it every time I see it is that meme of, characters doing stuff, and it's just villains waiting for the Power Rangers to finish. Like, that it just, all it does is seem to point, continue to point that out, that everybody just stands there and waits.
I mean, anytime that the villains do try shooting at them, they always miss, so...
Right, or, just get randomly shot. I missed that joke. I wish they'd bring it back.
So, we get a nice little gag where Kaido tries to distract some of the group, and so the monster chooses white so that they all attack him. And so Kaido tries hiding on a bus.
I as soon as he ran, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
What was your plan?
Like, I could accept that plan if like they'd shown that the bus had like a back exit, because some of them do, or like something other than front.
Meanwhile, Stacy is watching this, but he's troubled because Ijirude has finished his next big project that he's been working on, and Stacy is a little conflicted. But he's trying to find his conviction. He's going to beat Kaito. This'll be the one.
Like, I also do like the fact that they're starting to show consequence of their failures. Because Ijirude makes a point of, his plan needs to succeed because he's running out of options, or it was something along that, where it was seeming like it's starting to be do or die for Ijirude.
Right.
Which, good job storytelling.
Ijirude wants to prove his worth to Bakuas, and Stacy wants to upstage Barashitara. So, as far as Ijirude is concerned, like, they have an agreement. He doesn't know that Stacy is having doubts.
Right. He's still just playing off of Stacy's daddy issues.
Which, hey, if, like, as far as that goes, like, Ichiru's been pretty reasonable about it.
Yeah, he has. Because his whole thing on it so far has just been, yeah, I get it. He's been being an ass.
And, like,
Do you want to try this?
He's never blamed Stacy for anything going wrong. It's always like, fuck, those damn Zenkaigers.
Which, to be fair, nothing really has been Stacy's fault.
The one thing Stacy did was he summoned too many mechs at once and shortened out his timer, to which Ichirude was like, oh, you can't do that.
Right, which that's not Stacy's fault. That was failure to give somebody an owner's manual.
So, because the monster is controlling humans and making them fight, Kaido wants to finish him off quickly to free them. So he tries calling in the kaiju gear. Where's the kaiju gear? Why isn't it coming?
Gowan,
while preparing food, may have yelled at it when it got too close to the food. And so it might have run away. So now, hearing this, Jurin kind of goes off on him a little bit. Like, would you have yelled at a human child like that? Or did you only do it because it was a machine?
Like, this storyline, which, to be fair, this has been an ongoing storyline with Gowan.
Right.
It's only been like, what, two episodes? I think this is the third one that's heavily focused on this storyline with him.
Right, he cares more about humans than he does Kikanoids.
And even with like the flashbacks to this episode, is like, you can see it in previous episodes too. The growth that he's been making. It's just he doesn't realize he's been making it.
Right.
Like, this is extremely well done storytelling.
So they all split up to either look for kaiju gear or the monster. Juran, passing by a restaurant, runs into the pirates, and he tells Zox about Bullfighting World, and Zox goes, oh, that sounds like fun, I'm gonna go. While Flynn finishes off her shaved ice too quickly and gets a brain freeze.
Like, 100%. That's Zox's personality. Yep, that sounds fun. I'm off. I'ma go dance.
So while they have a moment, Jiren asks Flint about what would prompt the kaiju gear to run away from home. To which Flynn responds like, "Oh, he wouldn't do that. His AI doesn't have that capability. But he didn't come when he was called. Maybe he got stuck somewhere. If you need him badly enough, he'll show up." Cut to kaiju gear caught in a net.
Ugh.
Like his tail is
Like-
caught on like a trash bag kind of thing.
Like I like the play the joke of it'll show up when you need it. You know, like regardless of the circumstances, how like the power ups always show up.
Right, like, yeah, you need it bad enough, it'll show up. Run away from home? Nah, it ain't smart enough for that. It doesn't have that kind of self-awareness.
Nah, it just there was an open door and you opened it. What is wrong with you?
So Jurin starts to realize that, like, oh, maybe I blew the whole situation out of proportion.
Maybe I'm the asshole.
Which, this shows how Juren really is the oldest amongst them, since he's the wisest. He has the most self-reflection. So, like, he realizes he was in the wrong, and, like, he just sits there and accepts it. Like, oh, I think I was probably too harsh on Gowan about this. Meanwhile, Gowan sits at a park bench watching a bunch of kids play on the playground, and the kid, Kikai Noi, falls over, and all the other kids come over to rush to make sure he's okay. And Gowan realizes, like, maybe I am too biased. I don't care about Kikai Noids enough.
I took that a little bit differently.
Go on.
Because when it happens, the Kikinoid falls down, and Gowan does that whole little initial, you know, that, oh my god, are you okay reaction, that jerk.
But he didn't go all the
but
way.
But he didn't go all the way, which is fair. It's like, but then he had that reflection. I was like, no, I like the Kikinoids too. I just haven't realized how that, you know, how far my affection has gone. Rather than, oh yeah, no, now I like them too. I feel like he has grown to love them over the thing, and this is what clicked it for him.
Not that he didn't like them before, but like I saw it as like he realizing just how biased he had been about it. Like he had, like, yeah, he cares about Kikanoids, but he had shown a clear like biased affection towards humans. That was my takeaway.
I feel it probably a good mixture of both. Because they've shown him in the past where he's had zero reaction to a Kikinoid getting hurt. Whereas now he is. So it does show growth on like both levels of realizing his bias and realizing that his affection for Kikinoids has grown. Even if it's not even if it wasn't outright knowledge to him.
Either way, he realizes that Jurin kind of had a point.
Yeah.
Kaido goes back home to see if Zenkaiger gear has returned, and finds Stacy enjoying a sundae, and decides to wait outside. Yeah, Sechan is keeping a close eye on Stacy. To the point where when Yachan enters the room, Stacy's like, "Oh, I was wondering about your bird there." Yachan explains that Sechan was made by Kaido's parents. And Stacy makes the connection of like, wait, Kaido's parents? So one of them was your... Yep. Pulls out the photo. This is my son and his wife. Maybe you've heard of them. They were in the news, but they went missing 10 years ago. And Stacy Rose is like, wait, they're missing.
Like, so this is a bad joke, bad pun that I don't mean to intend. But you can literally see the cogs in his head turning.
Right, like he's piecing all of this together, and he's starting to understand Kaito a little bit better now.
Right, that seeing them in Ijirude's computer, you know, things are starting to piece together for him. which I feel is also fueling the eventual and hopeful switch.
So, Room and Magine managed to find Bullfighting World. But they're in a pinch and can't do anything with all these humans attacking them alone, so they call in backup.
And also because Magine forgot she can use magic. She continuously forgets that she can use magic.
Sechan rushes outside to yell at Kaido, like, what are you doing here? The monster's over by the mall. Go. Kaido rushes off, and Stacy gets up to leave as well. Yachan gives him a, hey, come by again, okay? But he tells her that this is probably the last time he'll visit. And Yachan is notably concerned by this, like, oh, something is clearly wrong. So she gives him a coupon and says, hey, you're welcome here anytime.
Flag. Flag. As very much a death flag.
It doesn't have to be.
Oh, I'm not saying it has to be, but that is very much a death flag. And that is very much a Sentai's trick of I have no intention of coming back alive.
Like, yeah, either he wins and he can never look her in the eye again after what he did, or he loses.
And either dies and or gets, punished severely and can't make it back until later and then finally breaks free. It said that that's the plot of like half a Sentai.
Yeah, but this is a good execution of it.
Oh, it's fantastic. So this also might have been a better execution of Jetman's finale. Only because it was funny. And unexpected.
So, okay. That one caught me, because, like, I haven't seen Jetman, but when I was watching Okaiger, they had the Jetman episode, and it's like, oh, Black is dead. And I'm like, wait, what? Black is dead? Is that true? So I looked it up, and I was like, wait, that's how that show ends? What the fuck? And then they did it here.
Fucking shot for shot, too.
Spoilers for a show that's like 40 years old.
But if you missed it, it's on VRV and Shout Factory.
I've been meaning to get the Jetman one. I won't watch that show. That one seems cool.
In VRV, it's worth it. $10 you get like 6 networks. The only downside is they've recently been.
Your mic cut out.
Oh, it recently got purchased by Funimation and Sony. So who knows how it's gonna turn out?
I guess we'll see. So Zox shows up, and so Bullfighting World chooses Gold as his target. But Zox was prepared for this. He's got the Ginja Man gear. For those of you that don't know, Ginja Man's sixth member was Black Knight, whose mech was a bull. So, he's good with bovines.
Realize that's one of two they could have gone with.
What's the other one?
Oh, no, that was more of a bison. Never mind.
Black bison?
I was going to say Star Ninja.
Oh, I don't know, maybe. But when they use that gear, it's going to be a guitar, right?
Yeah, it's going to be. That or a cheeseburger.
No, I'm going with guitar still.
Oh, this would have been a good episode now that I think about it.
For a cheeseburger?
Yes! Rub it in the monster's face of what it turns into.
But yeah, Zox is able to tame the unruly crowd for a bit, but it doesn't last too long. And then Gowon comes in and draws everyone's attention towards him so that Zox and Kaito can finish off Bullfighting World. Uh, Once everyone's head is clear, the other Zenkaigers that were caught in the hypnosis or whatever apologize for beating him up, but he explains it like, consider it payback for how I've treated you.
And you have Jurin's growth. Yeah,
Like,
no, that's
that-
not cool.
we don't want that. Besides, it was my fault for jumping to conclusions about what happened. To which Gowan says, you weren't wrong, though.
Like it, and this is one of the things I like about hentai and Kamen Rider. It shows that more than one person can be right in it, right or wrong in a situation. Because over the course of the episode, both Gowan and Jiren were wrong. And then they, when they both apologized, they're still both right for the course of events for why they're apologizing.
This was just a really good episode for character growth all around.
God, yes. And I'm more amazed that I think Gowan's gotten the most character development aside from Stacy.
Maybe.
Because to be fair, Kaito's still an idiot. Zox is still a pirate.
Zox has gotten a lot of subtle character growth.
He has. His has been more subtle, and apparently he's kidnapped Gokai Silver. Where the hell else is he getting this knowledge of Sentai from? He should have zero knowledge.
Flint made the gears. Maybe she told him what they do.
Maybe she came across Gokai Silver's book.
Maybe she pirated Sechan's like database of Sentai knowledge.
No, I just want to see her now with the book. That is my only thing I want to see now.
Where did you get that? Oh, we stole it from some other pirate world we passed through. That one was weird.
It's the one where we got the suit designs.
Yeah.
Just loudmouth talking about Sentai.
And then, yeah, Mech Fight is just another showcase of kaiju.
I did like the joke on this episode of, are you guys done talking now?
Right, like you were saying before about the bad guys waiting for the heroes to finish.
Quite literally, the giant version waited for the conversation to end.
Yeah, it was a very flashy mech fight, but it wasn't bad. It was really just a showcase of like, hey, check out our new toy.
Yeah. It's quite literally, hey, it turns into the drill mode too. This version of the Q-Rex.
There's some good shots in here.
Yeah, like the cinematography for the show, even with all the CG that they do, it's really well done. Like, and you know, I was like, I've been mentioning it for the last couple of years. Is like the cinematography for these shows just gets more and more. Sometimes it gets weird and lazy. Looking at the other show. But it's never bad. There are some shots that are damn near vomit-inducing. But it's not terrible. It's unique. It's different. And it shows Japan's getting really good at, you know, action movie camera work.
Or at least Toei.
Yeah, at least Toei.
But now it's Stacy's turn. It's been a long time since we've seen his transformation.
Yeah.
And his new toy that Ichiro has been working on,
We'll see next week.
Battle Robo Caesar 2.
Which we'll fully see.
Did it dual wield the last time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it did.
I don't remember, because we saw it like once.
Yeah, it dual wielded, then it ran out of power. And that was the end of that fight.
This is the improved model. It's faster, it's stronger, it's kicking Kaiju's butt.
The start of this fight, which is, to be fair, that's all we get. Honestly, I feel bad for the Kaiju mech, for the suit actor. Because that's just, everything about it just looks like awkward, bad positioning and posture for fighting. Like, it made sense in Time Force because pretty much all it ever did was run and fire missiles. But having it actually fight, just, it looks like it hurts. Like, it looks painful to be in that suit.
All slouched over.
All slouched and, like, hunched to get your knees in the right angle for that. It doesn't look comfortable. Which I realize none of them are.
But I'm sure that, like the takes that they have to do seem pretty quick, because there tend to be quite a few camera cuts.
Yeah. To make it easier on the guy in the suit so they can take breaks and stuff. And I think that's also part of why a lot of the battles are more like CG background. So that way they're not having to deal with time of day. And like trying to match, oh well, we had to take a break for an hour, now it's all of a sudden it's, much darker than it was when we started, we'll have to finish this up tomorrow.
And like, what does their filming schedule look like? Like, because if they film a bunch of like mech fight scenes all at once, then this guy probably has to go into that costume like once every couple of weeks.
Right. Like, it all depends on the mech fight the mechs they're using how they're planned out further for, moving forward, which apparently we're not going to see much of this mech again. Because, combinations are a thing.
Yep. Next week, the decisive battle between Kaito and Stacy. Will it, though?
I doubt it. Honestly, I see the similar thing of happening to what happened the last time. Shitara button his ass in. Or EJ Rude screwing something up. Like, I don't see it going the full on, given the fact of the way they seem to be writing Stacy.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the official start of Stacy reconsidering his choice of career.
Because, I mean, there's still the point of, it would be weird to have them, basically kill off Stacy and have nobody else have the knowledge of what he saw.
Oh, they're not going to kill him off.
But you know what I mean, though. To be fair, that's the flag they're trying to fly.
Right, but will he be a villain?
He may be for a little while, but I like you said, I feel this really, really, truly feels like it's the start.
And we're back.
Woo!
We lost literally nothing.
Go figure.
But yeah,
before it murders itself. But that's the big question: is it going to be him turning or him being like that external ranger who goes off and by himself and then just shows up whenever he wants to do something. A la like Operate Killer at the beginning of his story, where he just fuck it, I'm here now, and then he just fucks off.
I don't know Black Knight's story in Giga Man, but like Magna Defender in Lost Galaxy.
Yeah, how he just comes and goes. Hell, Ninjor did it too. Or he just fucked off for however long. Or Kiba Ranger there for a while. Because, yeah, that's a thing in Die Ranger too.
Or Titanium Ranger, because they wanted to make their own unique ranger, but didn't want to keep spending money on it.
That was Time Force, wasn't it?
That was Lightspeed Rescue.
Yeah.
America made its first unique ranger, but they didn't want to keep spending money on unique footage, so they had him just leave.
Mind you, this is the company who reshot 2 entire seasons of the show just so they didn't have to use stock footage.
But that was at like the height of their
the original popularity.
I wasn't gonna say, I was trying to think of a different way to express it than popularity, but like financial popularity, maybe.
Yeah, I can give it that. Yeah, they had more money to play with at that point before other things happened and information came out that kind of botched all that. But like, I see that being a storyline for Stacy where he's just pops up every couple of episodes. It possibly even just to still fight Kaito for the sake of fighting Kaito.
Maybe he fights everyone. Like, he doesn't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, so he just, whoever's still standing, I'm fighting. Unfortunately, we now have to wait a week. Yay.
Excuse me. That's fine.
And maybe this time, we won't wait 2 weeks to do a podcast.
No promises.
Yeah, I ain't promising a damn thing. We know my schedule. I know in my luck, we both make the promise your ass would be here next week and I'd be asleep. I know. But that seems like a good place to end it before your OBS murders itself.
Good night.
Thank you all for listening. We will be back tomorrow. Or next week. Not tomorrow. Because fuck
We
Saber.
haven't been back tomorrow in like over a month.
I have no excuse. But yeah, at some point we'll be back for Saber, who's apparently the last arc has gotten really decent.
Yeah, Drago said that the
And
last arc...
what little bit I've seen, I'm only pissed off about Caliber.
Considering that it's Caliber, I'm glad who it isn't, though.
Right, but at the same time, they literally they had the spare character solely to do this.
Anyways, we'll be back next time with Zenkaiger and not Saber. Thanks for listening.